of the Most High, yeah. Are you doing His will? Are you keeping His laws and commandments? Get your life right beside, walking right. Do you got that menorah sitting on the table, shining bright? What you doing? Are you righteous? Are you ready to make it to the finish line? Yasharel's time to wake up now. Put that armor on and walk it out. Righteousness is what we need. Keep His laws and commands and you'll be free. Stop laying your life down for what is wrong. Stand up and fight for His righteous cause. Yeah, you need to be that lampstand on a hill. Are you yearning to be the apple of His eye and His planted tree? And I know that you're waiting for His promises, and you're gonna see what no eye see. Oh, keep His laws and commandments. Love Yahuwah with all of your heart and your mind and your strength, and your neighbor as yourself. As for me and my house, I'm gonna make it to the finish line. Gonna see your face, gonna get that crown. I'll endure to the end, 'cause it's about that time. I'm enduring to the end. I'm enduring to the end. Yeah, I got my lampstand, I got my menorah, got my oil filled up, and I'm waiting for ya. I know that His promises are true. Now I'm fighting to make it to the end. I ain't worried about tomorrow, 'cause I know that He's overcome it all. Yeah, I'm trusting, and I've won it. I'm enduring to the end. I'm enduring to the end. I'm enduring to the end. Shalom, family. All praises to the Most High Yah for His goodness and His kindness that He has shown towards us. What a mighty Alua we serve. I'm always in awe at the wonders of Yah and how He is so merciful to us, how He is so kind to us, and how every word He has spoken is yes and so be it, how He is not a man that He should lie, nor the son of man that He should repent, that every single word He has spoken will never return void. And it is a privilege to be called a son and a daughter of the Most High, especially in these last days, in these last hours and minutes. Today we're going to be talking about the full gospel, part 3, the righteousness of Abraham and his son. As I was studying this myself, the joy of Yah overfilled me, it consumed me, because we can see that Yah really is omnipotent. He is all-knowing. He is all-powerful. And He truly is a consuming fire. And it solidifies for me more and more the reason why it was good. It was a good decision to serve him. So let us go before the Most High Yah and ask for insight and foresight, knowledge and wisdom, and a heart to receive all it is that Abba Yah has for us. Abba Yah, we come before you and we just give you thanks for who you are, for what you've done, and what you will continue to do. There is no one like you, Abba Yah, who is likened unto you. You are seated in majesty above, high and lifted up. And we just praise you because there is none like you, and there is no one who could do the great and mighty things that you have done. You knew of the end before the end could come. You knew of the end before the beginning was explained to us. And for this, Abba Yah, we esteem you because you formed the foundations of the earth. And you know everything that you have created by its name. How excellent is your name, O Most High, in all the earth. We ask that you will give us ears to hear and a heart to receive, so that our lives may never be the same ever again. And we can fully understand the reason of this faith, the reason why this is good news to us, the reason why so many laid down their lives for your name's sake and the commission of your Son. Be exalted, O Yah. Be exalted. In the name and the authority of Yahushua HaMashiach, so be it, and be it so. So, we're talking about Abraham. You know, we're going over the entire gospel because for some of us, we believe the gospel started in the book of Matthew. Some of us who grew up in the church, we believe that if it includes the gospel, it started with bits and pieces from the Old Testament, primarily the book of Isaiah. When it says the government shall be on his head and it's all about Messiah, his coming. But even then, that's partial insight. The gospel was from the moment that Yah said, let there be light, and light came to be. The light that was sitting in his bosom, his own son, made in his own image, came to be from the Father himself. And Yah separated light from the darkness, and he seen that the light was good. Not light from the dark, from the night, but from the darkness. Ask Yah for insight about this. And we see the fall of man, the corruption of mankind, the rebellion of the fallen messengers. We see how Yah chose one righteous man out of an entire wicked generation to be preserved and to start a whole new line of righteous seed. And we see that from the one righteous that Yah chose another righteous in his own generation, which was Shem. And from Shem, Yah chose another from the same line. Yah's always choosing one in his own generation to be a light in the world, to be a preacher of righteousness. And we read about Abraham, how Yah did not randomly just choose some guy on the corner of Shinar and said, I'm going to choose you, get out of your land. Yah has reasons why he chooses people. Know this. Yah has reasons why he calls people and why he says that Abraham is my friend, David I have loved, why he chooses people. It is not for no reason. He chooses them because of their faithfulness to him, because of their love for him, because of their rejection of idolatry and wickedness and what they're willing to lose and what they are willing to lay down their lives for. And we see that according to the book of Jasher and Jubilees, the reason why Yah chose Abraham was because he rebelled against the idolatry. He's seen that the mighty ones that his father and Nimrod and all of mankind was worshiping was things made by man's hands. He's like, wait, hold up. Why are we worshiping something that my father made? And if I throw them down, they cannot save themselves. There is no wisdom in this. There is no sense in it. And so he sought his father, the one who created everything that ever had been created. And when he realized and learned that the only true mighty one was the one that Noah served, was the one that Shem served, he served him with all his heart. And this brings us to where Yah says to Abraham, get out of your land, and I will bring you into Canaan. And Yah made a covenant with him. Yah chose Abraham because he walked in the righteousness of Yah. And we see that after Yah now calls Abraham out of the land of his fathers and brings him to Canaan, and he proves himself with Pharaoh, and he gives a tithe to Melchizedek. Notice now that Yah changes the name of Abram, and Abram's name is changed to Abraham. And Yah establishes a covenant with him. We see this in Genesis chapter 17, verse 5. And no longer is your name called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, because I shall make you a father of many nations. And Yah not only changes Abraham's name, Yah changes Sarah's name. And he says in verse 15, and Elohim said to Abraham, as for Sarai, your wife, do not call her name Sarai, for Sarah is her name. And this is the covenant that Yah promises Abraham numerous descendants and an everlasting covenant. He says, and I shall establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be Elohim to you and your seed after you. Then Yah promises to give Abraham an inheritance, and that, to give him back the inheritance that was originally his. I want you to know that Yah did not randomly choose Canaan for Abraham. It was always Abraham's land. If you go to Genesis chapter 17, verse 8, you see where Yah says it. And I shall give to you and your seed after you the land of your sojournings, all the land of Canaan as an everlasting possession, and I shall be their Elohim. We know that Yah did not randomly just choose Canaan just because he felt like it, but because it was what he had always gave to Shem. And the Canaanites had rebelled against the law of their father Noah. and took a land that did not belong to them. It is important that you fully understand this, because if not, when we get to the book of Joshua, when we get to the book of Deuteronomy, when we get to the book of Numbers, when we get to all of these books, you won't fully understand why it is that the Israelites are making exploits, why they are waging war. It's not because Yah randomly was being hostile and wanted to kill a whole bunch of people. It's because the Canaanites had called judgment upon themselves when they rebelled against the Most High. Yah did not randomly choose Canaan, the land of Canaan, for Abraham. It was always for Abraham. Jubilees chapter 10, verse 28 through 34 tells us this. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Misraim, and it was very good. But he did not go into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is, to the sea. But he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. And Ham his father, and Cush and Misraim his brothers, said to him, listen, this is the reason why Noah says to Canaan, you shall be a servant to your brothers Shem and Japheth. He was prophesying about what each one would do. He was prophesying of Canaan's rebellion, because Yah revealed to Noah that Canaan was going to take something that did not belong to him, and the judgment was enslavement. The judgment was servitude. I'm sorry, not enslavement, servitude. And this is the reason why Noah said what he said. A lot of people want to add extra stuff, but you have to have insight. Say, oh, the reason why Noah cursed Canaan was because he raped his mom, was because he raped his dad. You're picking up Jewish Talmud teachings. The reason why was his father and Cush and Misraim, his brothers, said to him being Canaan, you have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for if you do so, you and your sons shall fall in the land and be accursed through rebellion. The curse was servitude. For by rebellion you have settled, and by rebellion your children shall fall, and you shall be rooted out forever. Do not dwell in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons it came by their lot. Listen, verse 32. Cursed are you, and cursed shall be you over all the sons of Noah, with the curse by which we bound ourselves with an oath in the presence of the Kodesh judge, and in the presence of Noah our father. But he did not listen to them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon from Hamath as far as the entrance of Misraim, he and his sons to this day. And for this reason, the land is named Canaan. This is what Noah meant when he said that cursed shall you be amongst your brothers. You shall be a servant to Shem and to Japheth, because Canaan took land that was not his. He stole an inheritance that was not his. It was for Shem. Abraham comes from Shem. So when you continue to read, you'll fully understand why it was that Yah said to drive out the Canaanites, because they were thieves. They stole what did not belong to them. And Yah did not randomly choose the land of Canaan. It was always for Abraham. And the other part of the covenant was the circumcision of the flesh. Genesis chapter 17, verse 10 to 11. Genesis chapter 17, verse 10 to 11. This is my covenant which you guard between me and you and your seed after you. Every male child among you is to be circumcised. And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall become a sign of the covenant between me and you. And a son of 8 days is circumcised. A son of 8 days is circumcised by you. Every male child in your generations, he who is born in your house or bought with silver from any foreigner who is not of your seed. He who is born in your house and he who is bought with your silver has to be circumcised. So shall my covenant be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. I really need us at this point in time to ask the Most High Yah for insight and foresight, because this is the gospel. This is where we see in the New Testament that Yah says that Abraham has many descendants that are not just his seed by blood, but because of their belief. If you understand this part is not just going to be letters on a page. You will read past the letter and see the spirit of these words. That not just the seed of Abraham, the physical seed of Abraham would be circumcised and would be a child of Eluah, but anyone who dwelt in the house of Abraham, who lived by the law of Abraham, who followed the righteousness of Abraham, whether he was a seed or whether he was one that had been redeemed, an adopted son. This is the gospel. It was always here. It was always here. But our eyeballs and our brains tell us that this has to do with just one group of people. But the righteousness of Abraham was before there was an Israelite. And the righteousness of Abraham was the very righteousness of Yah imposed on Abraham. And so from the very beginning, people were able to be redeemed, even though there were not laws on a stone. Even though it was not written on paper. It was always there. The provision had always been there. It had always been there. And you must know this, that he who is born in your house and he who is bought with your silver has to be circumcised. So shall my covenant be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. So it wasn't just those who came out of Abraham. It wasn't just his own physical seed. But anyone who came and lived in Abraham's house and became circumcised. And Abraham's Eluah became their Eluah. And the righteousness of Abraham was imposed on them, and they too walked in righteousness. Think about Abraham's servant Eliezer. He was not a seed of Abraham. He was a servant of Abraham, and yet he feared the Most High. And today, so many people are able to be grafted into it by saying the Eluah of Abraham, just like Eliezer said, the Eluah of Abraham. Grant unto me favor this day, if my master finds favor in your eyes. Allow me to find a wife for my master son. The authority that had been given because of whom the covenant was given to. And whoever attached themselves to him could also experience the goodness of Yah. The circumcision is a perpetual sign of the covenant. Perpetual, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. For those who say it is not possible, for those who say it could never be, it was for a time. No, it was forever. It was forever, and it was for anyone who was willing to go the distance that Abraham was willing to go. Jubilees chapter 15, verse 11. And Yahuwah said to Abraham, and as for you, you shall keep my covenant, you and your seed after you, and circumcise every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it shall be a sign of everlasting covenant between me and you. And the child on the 8th day you shall circumcise, every male throughout your generations, he that is born in the house, or whom you have brought with silver from any stranger. Whom was born in your house, or whom you bought with silver from any stranger, whom you have acquired, who is not of your seed. Do you know why Abraham is called the father of many nations now? Because of those who were born of his seed and those who had been redeemed. The plan of redemption was always there. It was always there. It was always there. The provision had always been made. He that is born in your house shall surely be circumcised, and those whom you have bought with silver shall be circumcised. And this is where it says that there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither female nor male, there is neither Gentile nor Israelite. Do you see? Can you see? And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting law. And the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of the foreskin on the 8th day, that being shall be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant. And Eluah said to Abraham, as for Sarai, your wife, her name shall no longer be called Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. And I shall barak her and give you a son by her, and I shall barak him, and he shall become a nation, and sovereigns of nations shall proceed from him. And Abraham fell on his face and rejoiced and said in his heart, shall a son be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? And Abraham said to Eluah, oh, let Ishmael live before you. And Eluah said, yes, but Sarah also bear you a son, and you shall call his name Yitzhak. And I shall establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, and for his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have also heard you. And see, I shall barak him and make him great and multiply him exceedingly. And he shall bring forth 12 princes, and I shall make him a great nation. But my covenant I shall establish with Yitzhak, whom Sarah shall bear to you in these days, in the next year. We have to fully understand why Yah chose Abraham. Because if we don't, then it is a disservice to us, because we will be living out this faith for no reason. We must fully understand Abraham, that Yah did not randomly pick him, because this is the problem with the nation of Yasharal today, that we think that we are the people of Yah for no reason, just because he looked at us and he said, oh, I like black people, so I'm just going to randomly pick you. That's not why. It's not, he didn't pick us because he himself is black. He did not pick us because he himself is melanated. That don't even make no sense. Otherwise, he would have chosen the Hamites. He chose us because of righteousness that was added unto our father Abraham. That's why. He doesn't just pick people. He's not like one of us. He has to have a reason. And we are just inheritors by default, not because of any righteousness that we have done. A lot of us are not even close. Most of us, if not nearly none of us, are close to anything that Abraham was or would do, anything close to what Abraham would have done. It is important that we know this. This is the reason why there is so much mess in Yasharal. Because we like to call on us being the seed of Abraham, but we don't fully understand what Abraham did, who Abraham was, why Yah chose Abraham in the first place. The Christians don't know why they're Christians at all, except that Abraham was going to be a father of many nations. Poof, now we're the descendants of Abraham by faith, without having righteousness added unto them. But who can be called the seed of Abraham? Those who walk in the righteousness in which he walked. That Yah called Abraham his friend. That Yah said, I will make of you a great nation, a father of many nations. Abraham became a father not just to his own sons, but he became a father to those who he had bought with his money, who he redeemed, who was born in his household. He became a father of many. Why was Abraham so special to the Most High? Why was he so special? Look what it says. Sirach chapter 44, verse 19. Abraham was a great father of many people. There was none like him in esteem, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh, and when he was tried, he was found trustworthy. Therefore, he assured him with an oath that he would barak the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth. You think the dust of the earth ends with just us, Yasharal? Why do you boast in your flesh? And exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the utmost part of the land. Abraham was faithful. Yah made a covenant with Abraham. The circumcision of the flesh was given to him as a sign, a perpetual sign. Anyone that was born in his household was to do it. And the one who did not, that was born of his seed or his household, was cut off. The promise of countless descendants was given to Abraham. And the barakah of nations through his seed was given to him. First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 52 says to us, was not Abraham found trustworthy in temptation, and it was reckoned to him for righteousness? Yah didn't just pick Abraham out of thin air. He did not say, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 52, was not Abraham found trustworthy in temptation, and it was reckoned to him for righteousness? Genesis chapter 15 verse 6 says the same thing again. Genesis chapter 15 verse 6. And he believed in Yah, and Yah reckoned to him for righteousness. Hallelujah. So after this, Yah makes his covenant, and he tells Sarah. Sarah becomes too impatient. She wants to move ahead of Yah. She does not know how Yah is going to do this thing. She does not believe that Yah is going to do it in a way that is beyond human understanding. So she says to Abraham to take for himself her handmaid, Hagar, as a wife, and bring forth a son through her. This is the first time that we see surrogacy taking place in the scriptures. And that ended up real bad. Abraham agrees and brings forth a son with Hagar, and he is named Ishmael. Sarah feels some type of way after a little while, and she tells Abraham to send Ishmael away. Let's read it in Genesis chapter 21, verse 9 through 10. Genesis chapter 21, verse 9 through 10. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Mistrite, or the Egyptian, whom he had borne to Abraham, mocking. So she said to Abraham, drive out this female servant and her son, for the son of this female servant shall not inherit with my son Isaac. Jubilees chapter 17 explains to us in fuller detail what it was that Sarah was feeling, why it was that she wanted to send him away. Jubilees chapter 17. And in the first year of the 5th month, Isaac was weaned in the Jubilee. And Abraham made a great feast in the 3rd month on the day his son Isaac was weaned. And Ishmael, the son of Hagar, the Mistrite, was before the face of Abraham, his father, in his place. And Abraham rejoiced in Barak Allah because he had seen his sons and had not died childless. And he remembered the words which he had spoken to him on the day on which Lot had parted from him. And he rejoiced because Yahuwah had given him seed upon the earth to inherit the earth. And he barak with all his mouth the creator of all matters. And Sarah saw Ishmael playing and dancing, and Abraham rejoicing with great joy, and she became jealous of Ishmael, and said to Abraham, drive out this female servant and her son, for the son of this female servant shall not be heir with my son. And the matter was evil in Abraham's sight because of his female servant and because of his son. that he should drive them from him. And Allah said to Abraham, let it not be evil in your sight because of the child and because of the female servant. In all that Sarah has said to you, listen to her words and act. For in Isaac shall your name and seed be called. But as for your son of this female servant, I shall make him a great nation, because he is of your seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a flask of water and placed them on the shoulders of Hagar and the child and sent her away. I need you to know that in no place did Yah say that what Sarah requested was right. Sarah's reasons was because she was jealous. She seen Abraham rejoicing, looking at his sons, Ishmael and Isaac. And she felt some type of way. And she didn't want them to share in the inheritance. Meanwhile, Abraham's rejoicing, saying, yea, my Yah has not given me false hope. Not only do I have one heir of the covenant, but I have 2 sons. But even still in what Sarah had said to Abraham, Yah said, what Sarah said was good. He didn't say how she said it. Her heart reasons was good. He said what she said was good because Isaac is the one who is going to have the promise. And Yah knows much better than we could ever know. We can only speculate at this point. Maybe if Ishmael stayed, it would have been hard for Abraham to make a decision between his sons. We don't know. But Yah reinforced and said to Abraham, send Ishmael away. When Sarah said it, he felt some type of way. But when the Most High Yah said it, he got up quickly, without thinking twice, and sent his son, the firstborn son, the son of his strength, away. And his maidservant. So Yah tells Abraham to send Ishmael away, but makes provision for him. He leaves a barakah for Ishmael too, because of his father Abraham. Yahuwah delighted in Abraham, the scriptures say, because he was trustworthy. It says that when Yah said to Abraham, send your son away, he quickly did it. And in verse 15 it says, and it came to be in the 7th week, in the 1st year, in the 1st month of this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were voices in the Shamayim regarding Abraham, that he was trustworthy in all that Yah had told him, and that he loved Yah. Even when it hurt him, he loved Yah. And that in every affliction, he was trustworthy. In every test, even in his pain, in his sorrow, he never thought 2 times. That's why Abraham was counted worthy. Not because he was just picked out of random people. But because when Yah said, do what is the most difficult for you, he quickly did it. He did not think twice. But so many of us say that we're sons and daughters of Abraham, but when Yah tells us to do something, we want to find every reason to keep on doing our mess. You see, the gospel of obedience, the gospel of righteousness, and righteousness being bestowed on us began long ago. And throughout the generations, Yah always chooses somebody. And out of the generations of old, Abraham surpassed them all. And that's why he is the father of many nations. And why he is the father, the blood father of Yasharal. But we don't walk like our father did. We are stubborn and stiff-necked and arrogant and prideful and rebellious. Do you now understand when Yah says that even out of these stones he's able to make sons and daughters? After all of the Shamayam is rejoicing over Abraham, they're rejoicing, saying, "Whoa, who is likened unto Abraham in all the earth? A man that fears Yah, that walks with Yah, that worships Yah, that loves Yah, that does not rebel against Yah, that does everything that Yah says. Way, he is a mighty, mighty, mighty man on the earth. He has not compromised. Whatever Abba requires of him, he does. Whatever pain comes with the obedience, he disregards." So then an evil one comes up to Yah now. A messenger came before Yah, the same that had asked for the 10th of the evil spirits to stay. And we can read this in Jubilees, chapter 17, verse 16 through 8. Listen. "And it came to be in the 7th week in the first year, in the first month of this Jubilee, on the 12th of this month, there were voices in the heavens regarding Abraham, and he was trustworthy," that he was trustworthy in all that Yah told him, and that he loved Yah, and that in every affliction he was trustworthy. Trustworthy. You see how many times it says this about Abraham? "And then the prince, Mastema, came and said to Alua, 'See, Abraham loves Isaac his son, and he delights in him above all other matters. Command him to offer him as a burnt offering on the altar, and you shall see if he shall do this command, and you shall know if he is trustworthy in all in which you try him.'" And Yahuwah knew that Abraham was trustworthy in all his afflictions, for he had tried him through his land and with scarcity of food. And he tried him with the wealth of sovereigns. Wow, this is the reason why I'm in awe. Yah allowed the famine to come, and still Abraham was faithful. Yah allowed for princes to come and say, "Here, Abraham, I'm going to give you riches." And Abraham said, "Keep your silver and gold, homie. Keep your silver and gold so that nobody can say they made me rich and take the esteem of my Alua." These were tests. These were tests. And Abraham passed them all. Abraham passed them all. And he tried him again through his wife when she was taken and with circumcision, and had tried him through Ishmael and Hagar his servant. Even Yah sending Ishmael away. Even Yah telling Abraham to send Ishmael away was a test for Abraham, and he passed it. That was his son, his firstborn son. And he put his son away, not because his wife said, but because Yah said. And Yah said through all of his suffering, even though it hurt him, he obeyed. But we don't want to stop fornicating. We don't want to break up with our boyfriend. We don't want to take a break. We don't want to do nothing because it hurts me too bad. Yeah, I know you'd never ask me to do these things. I know you'd never ask me to separate. I know you'd never ask me to lay down my life for I know. No, you don't know, because the things that Yah asked of Abraham was beyond human comprehension. And still he did it. Don't say you know what Abba Yah would require of you. Because Yah asked exceedingly hard things of Abraham. And Abraham said yes every time. And that's why he was the inheritor of the covenant of Yah. That's why. That's why. Let's go to Jasher chapter 22, verse 40 to 55. Jasher chapter 22, verse 40 through 55. And Isaac, son of Abraham, was growing up in those days. Listen to understand. And Isaac, son of Abraham, was growing up in those days. And Abraham, his father, taught him the way of Yah, to know Yahuwah, and Yahuwah was with him. And when Isaac was 37 years old, Ishmael, his brother, was going about with him in the tent. And Ishmael boasted of himself to Isaac, saying, I was 13 years old when Yahuwah spoke to my father to circumcise us, Isaac. And I did according to the word of Yahuwah, which he spoke to my father. And I gave my being to Yahuwah, and I did not transgress his word, which he commanded my father. And then Isaac answered Ishmael, saying, why are you boasting to me about this, Ishmael? A little bit of your flesh, you took a little bit of your flesh off, and you think that was it? Yah asked you to do that. But he says, but as Yahuwah lives, Yahuwah be witness this day. Yahuwah be witness this day of what I say. As Yahuwah lives, the Alua of my father Abraham, if Yahuwah would say to my father, take now your son Isaac and offer him as an offering before me, I would not refrain, but I would joyfully consent to it. Do you see? And listen. And Yahuwah heard the word of Isaac. He heard what Isaac said to Ishmael, and it seemed good in his eyes of Yahuwah. And he thought to try Abraham in this matter. And the day arrived when the sons of Alua came and placed themselves before Yah. And Satan also came with the sons of Alua before Yah. And Yahuwah said to Satan, from where do you come? And Satan answered Yahuwah and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahuwah said to Satan, what is your word to me concerning all the children of the earth? And Satan answered Yahuwah and said, I have seen all the children of the earth who serve you, and remember you when they require anything of you. Is this not true? Satan said, yeah, Most High. I see the children of the earth. The only time they seek your face is when they want something from you. The only time they humble themselves is when they got a problem and they want to seek your face. When they're going through sufferings and they don't know where else to turn, so they come to you. Yeah, I've seen them, Most High. I've seen them. And when you give them the matter which they require of you, then they forget about you and forsake you, and they remember you no more. Is this not many people to this day? Is this not nearly the whole world? The only time they fast is when they need something from Yah, but that was not Abraham's life. So then Yah says, have you seen Abraham, son of Terah? Yah is boasting of Abraham, who at first had no children, and he served you. Or this is Satan saying, have you seen Abraham, your son of Terah, who at first had no children, and he served you and erected altars to you wherever he came, and he brought up offerings upon them, and he proclaimed your name continually to all the children of the earth. And now that his son Isaac is born to him, he has forsaken you. This is the accuser of the brethren. He always got something to say. Stanky old Satan always got something to say. And now that his son Isaac is born to him, he has forsaken you. He has made a great feast for all the inhabitants of the land, but he has forgotten you, Yah. For among all that he has done, he brought you no offering, neither burnt offering, nor peace offering, neither ox, lamb, nor goat of all that he slaughtered on the day that his son was weaned. Even from the time of his son's birth till now, being 37 years old, he built no altar before you, nor brought any offering to you, for he saw that you gave him what he wanted, and he forgot about you. And Yah said to Satan, have you thus considered my servant Abraham? For there is no one like him upon the earth. He is perfect, and he is an upright man before me, says Yah, boasting about Abraham. And he is one that fears Allah, and he avoids all evil. Bring up Isaac your son before me. As I live, where I say to him, bring up your son of Isaac before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more if I told him to bring up a burnt offering before me from his flocks or herds. And Satan answered Yahuwah and said, speak now to Abraham then, Most High, and do as you have said, and you will see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside your word. Where have we seen this before? Did we not see this with the servant Job? Where Satan is traveling to and fro before the presence of the Most High, and he is accusing. And Yah says, have you not seen my servant? Have you not seen my servant Abraham? And Satan is big talking, saying, it's only because he got what he wanted. Now, if you ask this of him, because the same way Isaac said what he said, not only did Yah hear him, but Satan heard him too. But when you read this, you see that Abraham had no tablets of stone, nor was he given any scrolls of laws. Yet he had a circumcised heart, and he walked in uprightness, in uprightness. The Torah of Yah, the very instructions for righteous living of Yah were written on the tablets of his heart. And he taught his son Isaac the same. And he had no spirit of compromise within him. And whatever Yah told him to do, he did. Let us go to Jubilees chapter 18, and we will read the entire chapter. Jubilees chapter 18. And Allah said to Abraham, Abraham, and he said, see, here I am. And he said, take your beloved son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the high country and offer him on one of the mountains, which I shall point out to you. And he rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took his 2 young men with him, and Isaac his son, and cut the wood for the burnt offering. And he went to the place on the 3rd day, and he saw the place far off. And he came to a well of water, and he said to his young men, you stay here with the donkey, and I and the lad shall go on. And when we have worshiped, we shall come again to you. Look at his faith. And he took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife, and they went, both of them together, to that place. And Isaac said to his father, Father? And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said to him, See the fire and the knife and the wood, but where is the sheep for the burnt offering? And he said, Elua shall provide a sheep for a burnt offering, my son. He prophesied, and he drew near to the place of the mountain of Elua, and he built an altar, and he placed the wood on the altar, and bound Isaac his son, and placed him on the wood which was upon the altar, and stretched out his hand to take the knife to slay Isaac his own son. And I stood before him and before the prince of Matsema. And Yahuwah said, Command him not to lay his hand on the lad, nor to do any matter to him. For I have shown that he reveres Yahuwah. And I called to him from the heavens and said to him, Abraham, Abraham. And he was afraid and said, See, here I am. And I said to him, Do not lay your hand on the lad, neither do any matter to him, for now I have shown that you have shown that you revere Yahuwah. You fear him, and you have not withheld anything. You did not say, But Yah, he's my only son. You did not cry, you did not weep, but you went quickly. You did not withhold your son, your firstborn son, from me. And the prince of Mastemah was put to shame. Satan was put to shame. And Abraham lifted his eyes and looked, and see a single ram caught by its horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. He said, Yahuwah will provide, and Yahuwah provided. He knew Yah. He knew that Yah did not need the blood of a human. He knew that. And even if Yah did, he said, Yes, Yah, yes to your will and to your way. Whatever you say, I will do. But we won't even stop doing bad habits because we like our bad habits more than we love Yah. And we call ourselves sons and daughters of Abraham. This is the gospel. Righteousness unto Yah, obedience unto Yah, withhold nothing from Yah, not even your sons or your daughters. He who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And Abraham proves this when he was willing to kill his son. He did not love his son or daughter more than Yah because he was willing, and he proved it. He didn't give mouth service. He who loves mother or daughter, son or daughter, wife or father more than me is not worthy. And Yah said to Abraham, Kill your son. And Yah said, Abba, Yah, I am worthy of you. I do not love my son more than I love you. This is the gospel. It started long ago. But the reason why we can be lukewarm is because we don't understand that it started long ago. And Abraham called that place Yahuwah Yireh. Don't call on Yahuwah Yireh if you don't trust him, if you don't believe him, and you don't even know why he's called that. Our father Abraham gave him that name. Yahuwah the provider. So that it is said, Yahuwah provides, that is Mount Sion. And Yahuwah gave us a lamb. And Yahuwah called Abraham by his name a second time from the heavens, and he caused us to appear to speak to him in the name of Yahuwah. And he said, by myself I have sworn, says Yahuwah. Look how Yah loves Abraham so much. People, look how much Yah loves Abraham. Look how much Yah loves Abraham. Abraham impressed Yah. Abraham's obedience, Abraham's righteousness impressed Yah so much that Yah said, I know your seed is going to be evil, Abraham. I know that your people who follow, who are descendants of you, are going to be wretched and wicked. But because of you, I'm going to make a promise to myself that for you, I will never, because of you, I will never remove this covenant. Because you was faithful to me, even though I know how the story is going to end, even though I know that it's going to be a wicked and rebellious people, because of the love that you have for me, I will swear by myself that I will never take my promise away from you, Abraham. So you think today that the reason why Abba is so kind to us is because of anything that you've done? It's because Abraham was willing to kill his son. It's because Abraham sent his son away. It's because Abraham did not curse Yah and die. It's because Abraham listened to every word Yah said, so Yah made a promise by himself because of Abraham, not because of you or your black skin. Not because of you and your false doctrines. Not because of you and your bad behavior. Not because of you and the hypocrisies in your heart. Not because of you and your laziness to do what is right. Not because of you and every excuse to keep doing evil. But because of Abraham. So Yah says, Abraham, because of this, Abraham, this thing you have done, Abraham, because of this thing you have done, by myself I have sworn to you. Because you have done this matter, you did not withhold your son, your own son from me. I will barak you, I will bless you, Abraham. In multiplying your seed, I will multiply your seed. As the stars in the Shamayam, as the sand of the sea, which is on the seashore, and your seed shall inherit the cities of its enemies, and your seed, and in your seed, all nations of the earth shall be Baruch. All nations of the earth shall be Baruch. Stop beating your chest. Stop doing all that extra stuff because you didn't do nothing good. It is because of our father Abraham and Yah, who is not a man that he should lie, that today we're still able to be called a people of Yah. And yet we do not walk in half of the righteousness of Abraham. Not even half of it. And yet Yah still keeps his promise. Because of Abraham. And when he made the promise, he does not renege. So despite all the evils that you have done, Yah still keeps his promise. So there's nothing to boast about. Except the gospel. Except the gospel. And this is it. And if you don't know, well, now you know. And in your seed, all nations of the earth shall be Baruch, because you have obeyed my voice, and I have shown to all that you are trustworthy to me in all that I have said to you. Go in peace, says Yah. And look what he says in Hebrews, one of my favorite verses. Even in our unfaithfulness, he remains faithful. Do you know why he says that in the book of Hebrews? Because of this. Even in our rebellion, in us not even being imitators of Hamashiach, in us not being imitators of Abraham, he remains faithful. And Abraham went to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba. And Abraham dwelt by Beersheba, and he celebrated the festival every year, 7 days with joy. And he called the festival of Yahuwah according to the 7 days during which he went and returned in peace. This is where we see Sukkot. There was no Torah here. There was no stones of tablet. Moses didn't exist at this time. And accordingly, it has been ordained and written on the tablets of the Shamayam because of Abraham. This is why we celebrate Sukkot. Yah didn't just make up this feast day out of nowhere. Yah created the feast day. Yah imposed this feast day because his servant Abraham thought to do it. And he imposes this righteousness on us. You don't do Sukkot because Yah randomly picked up a random day. But y'all want to keep Christmas. You want to celebrate Christmas. You want to celebrate birthdays and Halloween and Valentine's Day. But the things that matter, that solidifies our faith and our obedience to the Most High, we do not do. And when we do it as a flex. How stupid. To diminish the things of the Most High, Yah, not fully understanding why you do the things you do. And accordingly, it has been ordained and written on the tablets of the Shamayam regarding Yashrael and its seed that they should observe this festival 7 days with the joy of a festival. Before Moses was given a law on stone, before Yah wrote it on tablets, it was already in Abraham's heart to do righteousness. How did he know what kind of an animal to sacrifice? Just how did Noah know? Just like how did Abel know? How did they know what was clean and was unclean? How did they know to build altars? How did they know? Because it was righteousness that was written on their hearts, not on paper. And today we say, well, if it's not written on paper, I'm not doing it. If I don't see it written on paper, then I'm not doing it. But the scriptures say that you are no longer in need of a teacher. For the Ruach of Yah will lead you into all righteousness. What is that righteousness? Everything that Abba Yah says to do. So though you do not see it written on paper, it has been written on the tablets of your heart. And because it's written on the tablets of your heart, there are things that you just won't do because it has been written in you to do righteousness. This is the gospel. This is the good news. You must know that whatever Yah told Abraham to do, he did without any restrictions, without withholding. And Abraham taught his righteousness to his son. Jasher, chapter 22, verse 40 says so. It says it. And if you say, well, Jasher is not scripture, if you look in the book of Joshua, that's in every one of our Bibles, it says, is it not written in the book of Jasher? So stop playing. Stop finding reasons and excuses to walk lawless. It mentions 3 times or at least 2 times in the scriptures. Is it not written in the book of Jasher? The same one that you got in your hands, King James, NIV. Stop playing to continue in lawlessness. And Isaac, son of Abraham, was growing up in those days, and Abraham, his father, taught him the way of Yah to know Yah. And Yah was with Isaac. You must know that Isaac was not a baby or a small child when he went up with his father to be sacrificed. He was 37 years old. He was 37 years old. He was a grown man. He could have said, nah, Dad, what you doing? That's crazy. What you doing, Dad? I got my best life to live, Dad. I still don't got a wife. Please at least let me go and have a wife first before you kill me, Dad. But he went up with his father. In actuality, he's the one who said it to his brother. As long as Yah lives, if he asks of me to lay down my life for him, I will do it. And Yah says, he spoke this, now I will test him by this word. And Satan comes and heard it too and said, yeah, this is my opportunity to destroy the chosen seed. He voluntarily went up with his father and he obeyed Yah. Jasher chapter 22 describes Isaac as a mature adult who knowingly accompanied Abraham, his father, and willingly submitted to Yah's will. It is amazing. It is amazing. This is the reason why righteousness was bestowed upon Abraham and he was chosen. This is the reason why Isaac himself was chosen. Yah doesn't just pick people for no reason. For many are called, but few are chosen. I am certain that Yah called many, but they hardened their hearts. They were not worthy to have their names written in the book, to have an account written of them. But the one who heard the call and answered it was chosen, and in this book his name was written, and we have an historical account of why. Let's read Jasher chapter 23, the entire chapter, before we end, so you can see how obedient Isaac was. Oh, hallelujah. At that time, the word of Yah came to Abraham, and he said to him, Abraham. And he said, here I am. And he said to him, take now your son, your only son, whom you love, even Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which shall be shown to you. For there will you see a cloud and the esteem of Yahuwah. And Abraham said within himself, oh my goodness. The only thing Abraham says is, how will I separate my son Isaac from Sarah his mother in order to offer him to you, Abba Yah? And Abraham came into the tent and he sat before Sarah his wife and he spoke these words to her. My son Isaac is grown. He was willing to lay everything down for Yah. Listen to what he says to Sarah. My son Isaac is grown, Sarah, and for some time he has not studied the service of Eloah. Now tomorrow I will go and bring him to Shem and Eber his son, and there he will learn the ways of Yah. You must know that at this time Shem was still alive. He was not dead. Because in those days, that generation lived a long time. So there were cross encounters. Remember that Abraham learned about Yah in the house of Shem. So when he has his son, he goes and so when he was alive and had his son, Shem was still alive. So he uses this as a pretext. He tells his wife that I will bring Shem to Yah tomorrow. And there he will learn the ways of Yah, for they will teach him to know Yah, as well as to know that when he prays continually before Yah, he will answer him. Therefore he will know the way of serving Yah, his Eluah. And Sarah said, you have spoken well. Go, my master, and do to him as you have said. But do not remove him a great distance from me. Neither let him remain there too long, for my being is bound within his being. Sarah says, okay, Abraham, what you say is good, but don't stay too long, because you know that I'm very attached to him. That he's my son, he's my only son. You know, I love him a lot. Don't take him too far from me, okay? And Abraham said to Sarah, my daughter, let us pray to Yahuwah our Eluah, that he may do good with us. And Sarah took her son Isaac, and he stayed all night with her. And she kissed and embraced him and gave him instructions until the morning. She took her baby and she embraced him, her 37-year-old grown man baby, and embraced him. And she said to him, oh, my son, how can my being separate itself from you? She was so sad. And she still kissed him and hugged him. And she gave Abraham instructions concerning him. And Sarah said to Abraham, oh, my master, please take heed of your son and keep your eyes on him. For I have no other son nor daughter but him. He's my only child. Forsake him not. If he's hungry, give him bread, Abraham. If he is thirsty, give him water to drink. Do not let him go on foot, neither let him sit in the sun. Neither let him go by himself on the way, neither force him from whatever he may desire. But do to him as he may say to you. And Sarah cried and cried and cried the whole night because of Isaac. And she gave him instructions until morning. And in the morning, Sarah selected a very fine and good-looking garment from those garments which she had in the house that Abimelech had given to her. And she dressed Isaac, her son, with it, and she put a turban on his head. And she enclosed a precious stone in the top of the turban. And she gave him provision for the journey. And they went on. And Isaac went with his father Abraham, and some of their servants accompanied them to see them on the way. And Sarah went out with them, and she accompanied them on the way to see them off. And they said to her, return to your tent. And when Sarah heard the words of her son Isaac, she cried, and Abraham, her husband, cried with her. And their son wept with them a great weeping. Those who went with them also cried. And Sarah caught hold of her son Isaac, and she held him in her arms, and she embraced him and continued to cry with him. And Sarah said, who knows if after this day I will ever see you again? And they cried together. Abraham, Sarah, and Isaac, and all those that accompanied them on the way cried together. And Sarah afterward turned away from her son crying. And all her male servants and female servants returned with her to the tent. And Abraham went with Isaac to his son to offer him as a burnt offering before Yah as he commanded him. And Abraham took 2 of his young men with him, Ishmael, son of Hagar, and Eliezer, his servant. And they went together with him. And while they were walking on the way, the young men spoke to each other, saying, and Ishmael said to Eliezer, now my father Abraham is going with Isaac to offer him for a burnt offering to Yah, as he commanded him. Now, when he returns, he will give to me all that he possesses to inherit after him, for I am the firstborn. And Eliezer answered Ishmael and said, Indeed, Abraham drove you away with your mother and swore that you should not inherit any matter of all he possesses, and to whom he will give all that he has with all his treasures, but to me his servant, who has been trustworthy in his house, who has served him night and day, and has done all that he desired me. He will bequeath all that he possesses to me at his death. And while Abraham was proceeding with his son Isaac along the way, listen, Satan came and appeared to Abraham in the form of a very aged man. Satan shapeshifted and pretended to be an old man. Don't say it's impossible, because remember, we read in Genesis that the fallen angels took the form of man and slept with the daughters of man and produced giants on the earth. They left their spiritual bodies and shapeshift into man and slept with the woman. So Satan is no different. He is a fallen as well. So Satan appeared before Abraham and he shapeshifted, and he looked humble and lowly in spirit. And he approached Abraham. Satan approached Abraham as an old, humble, meek man and said to him, Are you stupid or something, Abraham? Abraham, is you dumb? Why would you go and kill your only son today, Abraham? For Allah gave you a son in your old age, Abraham. Why would you go and kill him, Abraham? For he committed no violence against you, Abraham. He's a good son, Abraham. He's obeyed you, Abraham. He respects you, Abraham. He follows and serves Allah, Abraham. Why would you kill the only son you have that fears Yah, Abraham? Do you know how many of us would think twice and be like, oh man, that's right, what am I doing? Why? There's no way y'all would have told me to do this. What? What? Do you not know and understand that this matter cannot be from Yah? Do you hear? Satan says to Abraham, do you not know that Yah would never tell you to do such a thing? You are hearing from demons. You are hearing from demons. For Yah cannot do to man such evil upon earth to say to him, go and slaughter your child. And Abraham heard this and knew that it was the word of Satan who attempted to make him go astray from the word of Yah. But Abraham would not listen to the voice of Satan, and Abraham rebuked him so that he went away. And then Satan returned and came to Isaac. And he appeared to Isaac in the form of a young, handsome man. And he said to Isaac, Isaac, do you not know and understand that your dad is a crazy old fool? And he is about to bring you to be killed for no reason? He said, Isaac, your crazy old pappy is trying to kill you, nigga. That's what he said. Now, therefore, my son, do not listen nor attend to him, for he is foolish. Your dad's crazy, Isaac. Make a run for it. Run, Isaac, run. Don't listen to your dad because he's crazy. Do not let your precious being and good-looking figure be lost from the earth. You didn't get to live your best life, Isaac. There's no way Yah would do this. Your dad's crazy. And Isaac heard this and said to Abraham, have you heard, my father, that which this man has spoken? Even thus he has spoken. Isaac says, Dad, did you hear what this man said to me? You hear what this man said to me, Dad? And Abraham says to his son, Son, listen to him. Hear him, but don't listen to him. Take heed of him, but do not listen to his words. Hear what he says, but don't listen, nor attend to him, for he is Satan. And he wants to take us away from the law of Yah, from the command of Yah. And Abraham rebuked Satan again. And Satan went from them. And seeing he could not prevail over them, he hid himself from them. And he went and passed before them on the way. And he turned himself into a river on the way. And Abraham and Isaac and his 2 young men reached that place, and they saw a river large and powerful as the mighty waters. And they entered the river and passed into it. And the waters at first reached their legs. So not only did he shapeshift into people, he shapeshifted into landmarks. So that Abraham could be like, wait a minute, this wasn't there before. And they went deeper into the stream, and the waters reached up to their neck. Abraham kept on walking. He kept on walking. Even though he saw that water, he kept on walking. The water got to his neck, and Abraham kept on walking. And they were afraid because of the water. And while they were going over the water, Abraham recognized the place, and he knew that there was never any water there. And he said, I know this place, Isaac, in which there was no stream or water. Now, therefore, this is Satan who is deceiving us. Look at the discernment of Abraham. He walked with Yah so much that he even recognized the landmarks. And Abraham rebuked him and said, Yahuwah rebuke you, Satan. Be gone from us. For we go to obey the commands of Yah. Are you worthy to be counted a seed of Abraham? You who call yourself an Israelite, are you worthy to be counted as a seed of Abraham? You who call yourself a Christian, are you counted worthy to be a seed of Abraham? You don't do half of what Abraham does, and Yah doesn't even require of us, not even 1% of what he required of Abraham. And Satan was afraid at the voice of Abraham, and he went away from them, and the place again became dry. It became dry land as it was at first. And Abraham went with Isaac toward the place that Allah had told him. And on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place at a distance which Allah had told of him. And a column of fire appeared to him that reached from the earth to the heavens, and a cloud of esteem upon the mountain, and the esteem of Yah was seen in the cloud. And Abraham said to Isaac, my son, do you see in that mountain that which I see? Do you see what's upon it? And Isaac answered his father and said, I see it, Father. And look, a pillar of fire and a cloud. And the esteem of Yah is seen upon the cloud. And Abraham knew that his son Isaac was accepted before Yah as a burnt offering. And Abraham knew it. And Abraham said to Eliezer and Ishmael, his son, do you see that which we see upon the mountain, which is at the distance? And they answered and said, we see nothing more than like any other mountain. Nobody could see it except for Abraham and Isaac. Eliezer couldn't see it. Ishmael couldn't see it. But Yah gave vision to those who loved Yah with all of their heart, all of their mind, all of their soul, all of their strength, and were willing to lose everything to keep and hold on to the righteousness of Yah. And you think you're gonna make it to heaven because you go to church every Sunday. And you think you're gonna make it to the Exodus just because you're an Israelite. That's crazy work. And Abraham knew that they were not accepted before Yah to go with them. And Abraham said to them, "Stay here with the donkey while Isaac, my son, and I go over the mountain and worship there before Yah, and then return to you." And Eliezer and Ishmael remained in that place as Abraham had commanded. And Abraham took wood for a burnt offering and placed it upon his son Isaac. And he took the fire and the knife, and they both went to that place. And when they were going along, Isaac said to his father, "Look, I see here the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb that is to be the burnt offering before Yah?" And Abraham answered his son Isaac, saying, "Yahuwah has made choice of you, my son, to be a perfect burnt offering instead of the lamb." And Isaac said to his father, "I will do all that Yah spoke to you with joy and cheerfulness in my heart." And Abraham said further to Isaac, his son, "Is there in your heart any thought or counsel concerning this which is not proper? Please tell me, my son. Oh, my son, do not conceal it from me." He said, "Son, do you really want to lay down your life for Yah? If you don't, just let me know now. Let me know, my son. Let me know." And Isaac said to his father, "Oh, my father, as Yahuwah lives and as your being lives, there is nothing in my heart to cause me to turn to the left or to the right from the word that Yah has spoken to you." And this is the reason why Yah chose Isaac. Because being able to run away, he did not. Neither limb nor muscle has moved or stirred at this, nor is there in my heart any thought or evil concerning. He says, "I'm not afraid, and I don't even think this is evil, Dad. And I don't think anything evil of you, and I don't think anything evil of my Alua. Whatever he says, I will do. But I am joyful and cheerful in my heart in this matter, and I say, Baruch is Yahuwah, who has this day chosen me to be a burnt offering before him." And Abraham rejoiced at the words of Isaac, and they went on together and came to that place Yahuwah had spoken of. And Abraham approached to build the altar in that place, and Abraham was weeping, and Isaac took stones. Isaac helped his daddy build the altar, of which he would have been slaughtered if Yah really required his life of him, until they finished the altar. And Abraham took the wood and placed it in order on the altar which he had built. And he took his son Isaac and bound him in order to place him upon the wood which was on the altar, to slay him for burnt offering before Yah. And Isaac said to his father, "Bind me safely, and then place me upon the altar, lest I should turn or move." He said, "Put me good on that altar, Dad, so that if for a moment fear were to come upon me, I would not destroy the altar." Do you see? Yah did choose Isaac as an offering. He says in the New Testament that we should be as an offering before him, as a blameless lamb before him, on which we offer up sacrifices of praise daily. This is the gospel. When Isaac laid down, he was still a lamb. He wasn't the lamb to take away the sins of the earth, but he was a chosen lamb by which the seed of righteousness would continue on. This is the gospel. Yah chose Isaac to be a lamb. And we are to be lambs without blemish on us. We are to be living stones. We are supposed to be altars. We are supposed to be giving daily slaughter offerings of praise and obedience to the Most High. And this is what Isaac did. Look at the spirit of the law. Don't just read the letters. He said, and break loose from the force of the knife upon my flesh, and therefore profane the burnt offering. And Abraham did so. And Isaac said to his father, O my father, when you have slain me and burnt me for an offering, take with you that which remains of my ashes to bring to my mother Sarah, and say to her, this is the sweet smelling fragrance of Isaac, but do not tell her this if she should sit near a well or upon any high place, lest she should cast her being after me and die. And Abraham heard the words of Isaac, and he lifted up his voice and wept when Isaac spoke these words, that he was so selfless, that he did not think of himself. He said, tie me well, Dad, so that I don't get up and run and profane the offering of Yah. And he says, when I am consumed, Dad, bring my ashes to my mother and let her know that this was what is left of me after you offered me to the Most High. And Abraham cried, and his tears fell on his son, and Isaac cried. And Isaac said, hurry, Dad, and do with me what Yahuwah has said, because he is our Eluah and he has commanded you. And the hearts of Abraham and Isaac rejoiced at what Yahuwah had asked. But they cried. They rejoiced, but they cried. Because obedience is not without suffering. Remember that. Obedience is not without suffering. And Abraham bound his son Isaac and placed him on the altar upon the wood. And Isaac stretched out his neck upon the altar before his father, and his father stretched out his hand to take the knife to slay his son as a burnt offering before Yah. And then a messenger of favor came before Yah and spoke to him concerning Isaac, saying, Oh, Yahuwah, you are a compassionate sovereign, showing favor over all that you have created in the Shamayam, in the heavens and in the earth, and you support them all. Therefore, give a ransom and redemption instead of your servant Isaac, and pity and have compassion on Abraham and Isaac, his son, who are this day performing your commands. Have you seen, O Yah, how Isaac, son of Abraham, your servant, is bound to the slaughter like a beast? Now, therefore, let your compassion be roused for them. At that time, he appeared to Abraham and called to him from the heavens and said, Abraham, do not lay your hand upon your son, neither do any harm to him. For now I know, Abraham, I know that you fear me. I know that you love me, Abraham. In performing this act and not withholding your son, your only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and see, a ram was caught in a thicket by its horns. That was the ram which Yahuwah Eluah had created in the earth in the day that he made the earth and the Shamayam. Listen. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and see, a ram was caught in a thicket by its horn. That was the ram which Yah created in the earth in the day that he made the earth and the Shamayam, and Yah had prepared this ram from that very day. Behold, the Lamb of Yah that takes away the sins of the earth. Behold the Lamb of Yah. Can you see? Do you understand? This is the gospel. For Yah had prepared this ram. Yah knew this day was going to come. And he had prepared the lamb from that day to be a burnt offering instead of Isaac. Abraham loved Yah so much that he was willing to offer him his son, the son of the promise, without hesitation, without restraint, without fear. And this was counted as righteousness to Abraham in his obedience to Yah. Yah sealed the plan that he had from the beginning. That through the seed of Abraham, Yah himself will provide the lamb to accomplish his word. That the seed of the serpent would bite the heel of the woman's seed. But the seed of the woman would crush his head. And the seed of Abraham, that by the seed of Abraham, the whole world would be blessed. This is not about just Yasharal. This was about the fall of man from the beginning. And Yah chose Yasharal so that we could bring forth that seed. So that he could bring forth that seed. He's always choosing a son. He chose Yasharal to teach the rest of the world how to be holy. Just like he chose Abraham out of a wicked and perverse generation to walk uprightly and to buy servants and to make them part of his household so that they could know Yah. This was always the plan. Don't boast in yourself. Because we don't even do half of what Abraham has done. And even in knowing this, most of us still will not. Now I need to explain this part to you. Because this is where John 3:16 is explained. Where they say, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believed in him would not perish but have everlasting life. I am going to share with you what that verse really says. Because this is a scripture that is watered down, that don't even make sense when you apply it. And it has given people a license to sin because they do not understand Yah or the gospel of truth. This is what John 3:16 says. For Yah so loved the works of his hand, the works that were made in the image of him and his son, which he saw was good, when the light that came from his bosom created it, that he sent the son that he loved, who had been brought forth from his own bosom, that whosoever placed their trust in him and committed to do and live and obey every single thing that he taught them, as he did, shall not be destroyed by wrath or judgment, but receive the complete inheritance and be given back the dominion that was first given in creation. Every promise of Yah, which was established from the moment he breathed in man and made him an incorruptible and living soul. This is what John 3:16 is saying. This is what John 3:16 is saying. For Yah so loved the works of his hands, that which was made in his and his son's image, which he saw was good when the light created it, that he sent the son that he loved, who had been brought forth from his bosom, that whosoever placed their trust in him and committed to do all that he commanded, instructed, and live as he did, shall not be destroyed by Yah's wrath and judgment, but receive and be complete inheritors of the promises of Yah, which was established from the moment he breathed in man and made him an incorruptible and living soul. John 3:16. And when Abraham obeyed Yah, this is what he sealed, that through him, the only begotten Son of Yah would die to rescue humanity, not just Yasharal. Hamashiach's death restored Yasharal to the covenant, and Hamashiach's death restored mankind to Yah. And this is the gospel. And this is why Abraham was chosen and is called the father of many nations. All praises to the Most High Yah. All praises to the Most High Yah. What a mighty Alua we serve. He deserves all the praise, all the honor that is due his name. I pray that we can walk as Hamashiach walked, and we can walk as our father Abraham and Isaac walked. May Abba be greatly esteemed, hallelujah, in us. May we be counted worthy to be called the sons and daughters of Abraham, whether it be by adoption or whether it be through the literal seed. May we not spit on Yah's goodness towards us. Abba Yah, we come before your presence and we give you thanks for everything that you've done. May your name be greatly esteemed in us, O Yah. May your name be greatly magnified. There is no one like you. We just thank you that you swore by yourself to keep us, not because of anything we've done, but because of who you are. What a mighty Alua we serve. mighty and perfect in all of your ways. Give us a heart to receive you, Abba. Give us a heart to obey you, to make a decision today to be like Abraham, to walk contrary to the customs and the traditions of our time, of our generation, to despite idolatry like Abraham did, and be willing to lay down our lives like Isaac was, to obey you perfectly, to hold on to nothing, to love no one and nothing more than you, to see your word and to just do it, to receive the conviction and to just obey it. Give us a heart, Abba, of righteousness, of flesh, and to walk in your ways. May your name be esteemed. May your name be magnified. There is no one like you. There is no one like you, oh Yah. May your goodness and mercy follow us all the days of our lives, as we dwell in the house of the Most High Yah, for always and forevermore. In the name and the authority of Yahushua HaMashiach. So be it, and be it so. I just want to remind you all that feeding the 5,000 is just a few days away. Continue to pray for us that Abba Yah will do all that he intends, and that we be obedient vessels. It will take place on Sunday, June 21st at 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Brooks Lake, 2697 Bethel Road, Northeast, Conyers, Georgia 30012. And we will be teaching and sharing the entire word of Yah, all of it, and calling for repentance and the coming judgment on not just the other nations, but on the house of Yasharal as well. For Yah is no respecter of persons. He requires righteousness from us. If you would like to support, please feel free to do so at the $, whale4yah7. And if you'd like to support through Zelle or PayPal, you can do so at themessenger526@gmail.com. You can feel free to send me an email as well if you need prayer. We are a household of praying women. You're able to send your petitions. And if you just need prayer as well over the phone, just let me know and I'll share with you the information. We can pray together. And it don't matter if it's in Spanish, English, or Creole, Haitian Creole. Yah's made provision. And just be reminded to walk in the redemption, because the moment of being sealed has come. Walk with Yah. Walk with him. Follow Abraham. Follow Isaac. Follow HaMashiach. And be as children of light and not of darkness. I love you all, and may the peace of Yah continue to follow you all the days of your life. And may you yield to the calling and seize the day. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. Will it be your flesh, traditions of man, doctrines of demons, or your religion? Or will you serve Yah and be the one that Yah chooses in this wicked and perverse generation? Let the redeem of the Most High Yah say so. Shalom.